Why is it that everybody with chronic pain will be advised to do some kind of relaxation technique sooner or later? In this video, I will show you the benefits of learning such a technique, but also some thoughts on trouble you might run into and how to pick the right method. If you watched some of my videos, you will know that stress and tension play a major part when dealing with chronic pain. Practical as we humans are, we think if there's a fire, just put some water on it. The same way of thinking we follow when we're dealing with chronic pain and the tension. But is it really enough? This we cover here. Why is there tension and pain? Now, the simplest thought here is when your muscles are too tense, you have to relax. Tense muscles are one of the main reasons for nociceptive pain and chronic pain. And a mechanistic way of thinking, which had been dominant in regular medicine and sometimes still is, we always have a certain action to counter a disease, to reduce the symptoms, or to even get rid of it. For infectious diseases, this works pretty well and has saved millions of lives. But let's suppose you have tension-type headache, neck and shoulder pain, or back pain. The most common source for this are tensed-up muscles. This sounds so simple, but when you know what I'm talking about, you know for sure this can be horrible. Of course, the first thought here is to loosen up the muscles, which will help immensely. And from a doctor's side, drugs might be given to you to do this. Physiotherapists will maybe do massages or certain movements as well as stretching. And in psychology, people often think of progressive muscle relaxation, autogenic training, mindfulness exercises for relaxation, etc. Don't get me wrong, all this can work pretty well, especially in the short term. But does it help in the long term? What I hear most often is, oh, the massages are so good when they dive into these muscles right on the spot where it hurts the most. It's always such a relief after a while. Best would be someone who massages me every day. Well, and then? The muscle stiffness and tension returns shortly afterwards, right? Sometimes it just takes an hour, sometimes maybe a day. The same holds true for any kind of relaxation that I give my body only from time to time. So if we know that it only helps for short times, why do we do it anyway? Well, there are several answers to it, my friend. First of all, a short-term help doesn't need to be bad. All the strategies to get rid of pain are good as long as they don't keep you trapped. What do I mean by that? All we talk about here is the training of our brains. They need to learn the right stuff. And if your body, and by this your brain, learns only to relax when someone's touching you and not how to do it by itself, you're simply dependent on massages. No, really, this is exactly what's happening. Your brain learned to react to the stimulus of getting a massage by relaxing. If this happens again and again, it needs this kind of stimulus to relax. Of course, it isn't all that simple, but it's a huge part of how it works. So massages aren't bad. Just don't get addicted. The next thing is that when you suffer from tension-type pain for a longer time, typically you lose your capability of noticing the level of tension in this part of your body. Maybe you noticed that when you did something like progressive muscle relaxation, your body automatically returned to its original state of tension just a little later. We get good proof for this by now concerning especially back pain. People with long-standing back pain tend to get worse and worse in noticing the level of tensions in their muscles in the back. First, what does relaxation training do when you practice it regularly? Here comes the real benefit. Relaxation training helps you to develop the awareness of what's going on in your body. And by this, you can counteract immediately. If you train regularly, you will notice the tension coming up really early, and it will be way easier to deal with it. You sense the muscles or the group of muscles that tenses up, and you can loosen them. Of course, this is very idealistic and theory, and even for advanced practitioners, sometimes pretty hard to do. Now, here comes the second important point. Pain is closely linked to fear and stress. It is important to find a way to deal with this. Here, relaxation techniques come in really handy. What's remarkable is that dealing with stress and fear better often results in a relief of pain. I already made a video on this, you can see it up here. Because just like pain, our stress system is a survival system. Since they are so closely linked, one influences the other. By learning to relax, our brains can learn not to react to chronic pain with too much stress and fear. This is mainly because in chronic pain, we usually don't talk about new structural damages when we experience it. So from a biological standpoint, there's no need for the second alarm system, stress and fear. But our brains need to learn this. It's not just given to us. What follows is that we start experiencing the pain differently and not as bad as before, even as a long-term result. Third, training for the autonomic nervous system and the vessels. Oh, but it's not only our brain not to react, it's our whole body. Relaxation lowers the blood pressure, the muscles around the vessels relax, and by this blood can circulate really good through them. If you ever experienced it, you feel it when your muscles, hands and feet get warm doing these exercises. This goes back to a reaction of the autonomic nervous system, shortly called ANS. This nervous system wanders throughout the whole body. A lot of physiological functions are regulated by it. It's not only the blood pressure, but also the muscle tension, a lot of our digestion, partly the heart rate, the breathing, the sweating, and so on. To keep it simple, it helps the body to balance tension and relaxation, and for doing this, it's split in two main parts. One part is the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for increasing blood pressure and muscle tension and the like. And the other one is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is doing the opposite for the most part. Now, when you're in acute pain, you are pretty hardwired to react with stress. And when these signals go down from the brain to the rest of the body, the sympathetic part of the ANS starts to work, increasing your level of tension. If you suffer from chronic pain, this stress reaction might also become chronic. So you might find yourself in a constant state of tension and alertness. Relaxation training will help you to train the parasympathetic part of your ANS. Yes, sometimes it has to be trained regularly again to reach a better state of balance, which scientifically is called homeostasis. In the end of the video, I will tell you the second ingredient that's necessary to reach this goal. Fourth, giving the body a chance to balance itself. Here comes the secret most people don't know. Do less instead of more. Talking about balance, in most cases of chronic pain, our bodies still do a pretty good job in keeping up the balance. Just the fact that we're still alive shows it seems to work. Nevertheless, some functions in our bodies will be disturbed. By training how to let go on a regular basis, you can help your body with the balancing out of these functions on a newer and better level. In my experience, this is the hardest part for most people, because when I talk about letting go, it means giving your body the chance to find a way to get to its balance all by itself. The exercises, whatever we do, just give the context and the prompt for the body to organize itself in a better way. As soon as we start to interfere by not wanting certain emotions or sensations like pain, it won't work that well. Actually, it's pretty easy. You just have to concentrate on the formal practice and let your body do the rest. The workings of our bodies are so complex that it's not really possible to balance it out by sheer will. So by this, there's even a chance of learning to trust your body again by doing simple relaxation exercises. In the beginning, this might be a little bit too hard because you will eventually experience how your mind wants to control everything. But with some experience, you might get to the point. My clients who are at this level often describe it as letting it all flow through me. Trust your body. It will tell you when it reached a better and better level. As you might expect, this has a lot to do with acceptance of whatever goes on inside of you. And furthermore, you can see here that the simple relaxation technique can take you a long way in set of complex mechanisms of healing. Fifth, movement and relaxation. Most people think that relaxation is all about the formal techniques you can learn from your physiotherapist or psychotherapist. Well, it isn't really true. Relaxation is a natural response of our muscles after movement. When your muscles get used to doing something, they will normally relax after they've done their work. Maybe you've discovered this doing a workout and afterwards feeling heavy, warm, and cozy. This is basically what we mimic when we do progressive muscle relaxation. But why not taking along the advantages of a physical training? Yes, you're right. This is the miraculous second ingredient to help our bodies to get to a more adaptive state of homeostasis. No, really, there isn't much more our body needs. Okay, maybe the right nutrition, but you'll already go a long way if you add just 2 of these ingredients to your life. All 3 would be perfect, of course, and sometimes unnecessary. There are 2 points with respect to movement that are important to pay attention to. First of all, do a moderate training. It's not about being the first, the best, or reaching the same goals as you might have reached 10 years ago. It's Not bad, scratching the pain threshold. But just as with the relaxation, it's important to be aware and mindful with your body in order not to start training exceedingly. It all follows a very simple principle, which is called subjective under-challenge. This means always do a little less than your mind tells you you could do. By this, I of course don't mean that you shouldn't stand up from your sofa at all because your mind tells you that it's all too much. But it means that you started training, walking on the outside maybe, and stay willingly just below your limits. Maybe you already experienced it. When you do too much, it only leads to more pain and you'll tense up. Just keeping in mind the subjective under-challenge and you'll be all right most of the time. You will discover that the limits might change from day to day, and this is normal. If you can't do as much today as you did yesterday, don't push through it with force. The second point is, when you train and your muscles are cramping or starting to hurt, maybe it's a good thought to relax a little bit before you start your training. In everyday living, when you take home your groceries like that, and the muscles in your arms start hurting because the bags are heavy, nobody gets the idea of doing this, right? What do? We put down the bags and relax our arms, and then we take it back up. Make sense? I bet you. In training, it's sometimes enough to let go just a little bit so you can do the movement. Certain stretches your physiotherapist can show you will do the same. These are just two principles that will make it easier for you to train. Afterwards, take some time for your body to relax, to calm down, and start regenerating. Especially when dealing with chronic pain, this is very important. It helps your body to find the right balance again, and over time you will discover that your body will find better and better ways to do that. It makes no sense to hurry to the grocery store, to work, to get the kids after this training. You don't do your body a favor. What kind of relaxation exercises to choose? In my workshops for professionals, I often get asked what kind of exercises I'd suggest. Of course, there are exercises and methods with a huge body of evidence like mindfulness or progressive muscle relaxation. It's been shown that these trainings work. What is often overlooked is that all this makes no sense if you don't like doing it. So my advice is always the same. Find a method you really like to do. Only then it will help. Some people love to relax in a warm bath. Some love to do Tai Chi or Qigong. Some love to lay out in the sun in their garden or cuddled in a nice and cozy blanket on the sofa and sip a hot tea. And for some, it might be breathing exercises or yoga. Do whatever method you really like. Why is this important? You will only do the things you like over a longer period of time, and exactly this is necessary. If pain has been around in your life for long, giving you some very tough times, you might be interested in learning how to deal with it differently. So you're invited to get your first exercise from PAIN.PAUSE.LIVE. It will help you to deal with pain-related tension and stress, and it's easy to learn and apply. You can go on our website down here and you can find the link in the description of the video.